Wrexham's top scorer works at a prison? Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Season 2, Episode 6 of Welcome to Wrexham. Episode 6, Ladies First, opens at Prison Berwyn, the largest prison in the UK. The spotlight is on Rosie Hughes. She works as a guard at the prison. Rosie says she got into this line of work because she couldn't sit still. Growing up, her brother and sister were inmates, and that helped Rosie see prisoners as people and respect them. Cut to the pitch, and there's a big crowd at Wrexham. I think the surprise is that it's for the women's team. Boom! It's Rosie Hughes bursting through the center, rounding the keeper, and scoring a goal. We learned from Ryan and Rob that Rosie is Wrexham Women's top scorer, who are in first place in their league. They detail some of the difficulties of being a women's player for Wrexham. It's a semi-professional league, so none of the players are paid. However, the owners plan to take the team as far as they can go. They just need to get promoted to the Adren Premier, which is a semi-professional league. None of these players have contracts. They all have other jobs, like Rosie, who works at the prison. Next, we meet Lili Jones, a 17-year-old midfielder who's a student by day, restaurant worker by night, and footballer at the weekend. We learn about Lili's backstory. She got scouted by Everton, played for them for a few years, played for Wales U15, U17. Lili said she probably would have stayed at Everton, but after her dad took his own life, she moved back to Wrexham. They knew her dad was struggling, but had no idea how bad things were for him. Sadly, this is the case for a lot of people, so if you feel alone, get help. There are lots of people who care about you more than you know. Luckily, Lili has the support of a lot of people around her, and I think that's why it's been good for her to be back in Wrexham. Her dad Gareth was making these fun videos about Wrexham, singing and dancing. He was a hugely passionate Wrexham fan all his life. Since he's passed, Lili has grown closer to the club and says how much getting promoted would mean to her. Humphrey gives us a history lesson on women's football, how it was getting so big even as far back as the 1880s, but particularly during World War I when all the men were off fighting the war. On Boxing Day 1920, there were crowds as large as 53,000, and the FA thought the women's game was a threat to the men's game, so they banned women's football. The ban was in place until 1972, but there was no women's football committee at the FA until 1993, which is ridiculous. So if you're wondering why men's football has such a big leg up on the women's game, please do your homework, research it, look into it, and support the women's game as best you can, or at least don't belittle it. A lot of the success of Wrexham Women is down to Gemma Owen. She oversees operations for every women's side at Wrexham. Her husband is Gareth Owen, who was a Wrexham men's player that Gemma grew up watching. Now he's the women's U19 manager, so they work closely together. As we know, Wrexham is a very family-driven club. Gemma loves being involved at the club that she supported her whole life. Giving an opportunity to other girls and women from North Wales to play football means the world to her. Big game for the women against Connah's Quay. I'm not sure how it's pronounced like that, but here we are. Wrexham versus Connah's Quay, two undefeated teams going for promotion. You can tell Wrexham hires passionate managers at either level. Just like men's manager Phil Parkinson, Steve Dale is swearing up a storm. Rosie Hughes is like Paul Mullen. She's scoring the goals and the kids are all singing her name. Mia Roberts, who plays for Wrexham Women, is with her dad at the 1864 suite for a game. Neil Roberts played for Wrexham and was captain of the team that got relegated from the Football League, so it's a difficult situation to deal with. Roberts said it's something that caught up with him later in life and he became a different person. Quite a weight to carry. Some people think it's fine to give footballers stick for bad performances because they make a lot of money to play a game, but it's something that really psychologically can stay with you. Wrexham were relegated after 87 years in the Football League. If they can get promoted this season, it will lift a lot of the weight off the shoulders of Neil Roberts. Last game of the regular season for the women. If they win this, they're in the promotion playoff. Wrexham absolutely put real to the sword, 11-1. Rosie Hughes mentioned how she once scored 3 hat-tricks in the same game against her former club. Reminds me of Erling Haaland. Wrexham went 11-0 in the league, scoring 68 goals, Hughes scoring 23 of them. Wrexham are into the promotion playoff against Adren's South Division winner Britain Ferry. One more game to win promotion to the Adren Premier, the highest level of women's football in Wales. Ryan Reynolds sends the team a nice video message after the game, congratulating them on the fantastic season and wishing them well in the next game. Gemma Owen says that it's tough working in football, but very rewarding to do so much for the club that you've grown up idolizing. So I'm happy for her. What did you think of this episode? Weigh in down below.